Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTube. And what we have today is another Skyebrows video. Now, infrequent YouTuber, I'm constantly behind on things, but I think I actually caught this one fairly well. It was updated released 2 days ago, going over the Brick of Mormon Skyebrows video. And this story is unhinged. If you don't know about what's been going on with these Legos, I highly suggest either watching Leaflit or Asmon Gold covering the whole situation. It is crazy. But Skyebrows went and made a video. Now, I haven't watched it. This is going to be completely a live react. We're going to watch the video first, and then we're going to rewind. We're going to go back through, and we're going to go over the what's being said, lyrics, symbology, the people that are in it, you know, the whole 9 yards. We're going to do a little bit of a breakdown. Not going to do like a full super in-depth deep dive into the overall like methodology and symbology and shit like that. No. We're going to keep it relatively slim, you know. So, but without further ado, let's pull this up to full screen and let's get into it.
Walking a thin line on a slack line, reading warning signs as a flat line. Got a claim forming a backline and a story changing by the halftime. I say I didn't do like wind do. If it ain't true, then I walk through every interview, got a bend to every memory, got an edit menu. R2D2 unto others, swearing on my Mormon mother. There's no bigger layer lover, but I keep her undercover. I ain't greedy, I'm protective. From a certain point perspective, every fact is more subjective. When the shelf looks so collectible, more and more, and call me shady, call me litigation crazy. Call me maybe, call me Bailey, just don't call the feds Ben, maybe. Got a bad feeling, that's tradition. Got a mission and a superstition. Got a witness with a contradiction. Got a lawyer, so that's permission. No castle run, I simply squander. I don't hide, the truth just wanders. I don't lie, I merely launder your questions, non-responder. Jedi mind trick, minor fit, and certain facts have gone missing. Certain boxes gone fishing, certain cameras extra snitching. Obi-Wan, my explanation, mastery, interpretation. Every claim of variation on the theme of compensation. They say, Josh, return the Lego. I say, why so black and white though life's a spectrum? Let the force flow, finders, keepers, that's my life code. A faithful millennium falconist, brick acquisition specialist, plastic preservation archivist, part-time amateur escapologist. Some folks pray for revelation, I pray for shelf space allocation. Searching for divine confirmation, for collected grade valuation. The force awoke inside my heart, near the vintage Lego part. Some call that the darkest start, I call that a brand new start. I say, look, let's be objective. The collection looked neglected, I was simply redirected by a higher force directed. Walking a thin line on a slack line, every headline turns to backfire. Every fact check fuels the tire fire. Every witness suddenly retires, got more spins than a lightsaber. Every month the tale gets stranger. Every statement shape changes later, like a legally distinct changeling vapor. Swearing on my Mormon mother, blaming one thing then another. Every brother backs a brother till someone calls an undercover. I would never stoop to theft, I merely shifted assets left. You say my morals are bereft, let's leave the matter unaddressed. Like Joseph Smith, you know, call the po-po on this shaggy bro. selection. The source is wrong on inspection. Foreign forces, divine protection. Stacking bricks of misdirection. Walking a thin line on a slack line. My tiny planet, star shine. Castle waiting in the skyline. Fly my falcon through the divine. If the kingdom's everlasting, ooh, and celestial worlds are fasting, ooh, why you still busy asking where I keep those boxes basking? Never let go, never let go. That's the motto, that's the tempo. If the force says no, then maybe. If it's a stop, then move it slowly. R2D2 unto others, swearing on my Mormon mother. There's no bigger layer lover, but I keep her undercover.
Wow. Okay, so one, not too long and not too short, especially for the message that that is wrapped up in this. Now, if we go back, so essentially what has happened is the owners of Bricks and MiniFigs have gone to extreme lengths to acquire a Lego set that they signed a consignment agreement with the original owner, so that the owner could get money for like his grandchildren or for whatever, or for basically whatever reason. Like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. A consignment agreement was made. Now, corporate like to argue that, oh, they don't do consignment agreements. Well, if we look at people like even Legal Eagle, you have Legal Mindset, you've got all these other lawyers that are actual real lawyers in real life that also have their YouTube personality. They're all corporate lawyers. They've all looked at the paperwork and documentation that goes into this, and they have absolutely blown out the idea that they don't have to honor a consignment agreement because it's written into how the company operates. I don't know all the technical terms. I am not a lawyer. I'm not giving lawyer advice. I highly suggest that anybody that wants to understand the legal aspect of this whole thing to go check out Legal Mindset. I much prefer Legal Mindset over some of the others because people like Legal Eagle, no shade, but he's been kind of back and forth on many of the internet debates on legality, and he's been known to be absolutely wrong in his opinions. However, Legal Mindset has been very consistent in what he does. So that's me where I hedge my bets on that. If you want to know the legal aspect, I highly suggest going to check out Legal Mindset. Check out his breakdown of both the documentation as well as the legal aspects, both for and against Ben, for and against Bricks and Minifigs. He's very neutral in the way that he presents the information, even though he does absolutely have his own opinion about how it all should be handled. But here at the very beginning, you know, we've got one of the owners of Bricks and Minifigs here, or one of the franchise owners. Um, he's got a cell phone out. This is almost, actually, I'm pretty sure this is exactly how he was dressed in one of Reckless Ben's most recent videos. And this was basically him calling and talking to the cops directly. He didn't call dispatch. He called cops directly, cops that he knew and told them to come down and take care of stuff, like illegally, mind you. Uh, and as we progress, I definitely like the floating Legos. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I don't know who this is. Let me run uh a search here real quick. Like, is this like the creator of Lego? I don't think so. Doesn't necessarily look like him. Mercy. I'm trying to find out. This is. I don't know. So I don't know who this is supposed to be. Definitely looks like it's either 1800, late 1800s, early 1900s clothing. Um, I mean, I would almost hedge it as like the a younger version of the creator of Lego, but all of the pictures that I was able to find of the creator of Lego has him as an old man, even in black and white. So I'm not entirely sure. So if you know, let me know down in the comments below, and help me figure out who the hell is this. This is the other co-owner of Bricks and MiniFigs, um, who entered into the consignment agreement. He also called the cops on Ben, uh, as well as not honoring the consignment agreement and paying out what was owed.
I'm walking a thin line on a slack line.
Now this is the CEO. He was most recently seen on a on a Fox News um interview, and I gotta hand it to him. Like, they didn't treat him very nicely. In fact, Fox went pretty harsh on the guy. Um, Much deserved. But it was the first time that I've seen Fox do any actual investigative journalism in probably like 15, 20 years. Like, it was actually kind of amazing to see them actually like go back. They even used a younger guy to do the interview, which was again amazing because the whole media industry is just saturated with old people and idiots.
Reading warning signs as a flat line. Got a claim forming a backline and a story changing by the halftime. I say I didn't do like Windu.
I love all of the little Star Wars references that are scattered all over in the lyrics, and they flow just right, right into the next line, into the next bar. I to be able to get it to write just like that. That's good. And while I'm not very particular on the style of music itself, I have a great appreciation for the way that the song was delivered. Um, I don't have anybody in particular that I can pull as a reference for it. I mean, my Spotify is full of artists from all over the spectrum, and I think that probably the closest one that I could probably think of on my personal playlist, other than Skyebrows himself, would probably be Pentatonics. Um, it's definitely has that almost that barbershop feel to it, or almost like a pseudo acapella.
If it ain't true, then I walk
Also, every one of these cops, every single one of these needs to be fired and put in jail.
through every interview, got a bend to every memory, got an edit menu, R2D2 onto other.
Because the crazy thing is, like, all of the cops that were involved, not a single one of them were good faith actors. Every single one of them broke the law. They didn't just break the city ordinances. No, no, no. They went and they broke the highest law of the land, the Constitution, the First, the Fourth, and the Fifth Amendment. And anybody who has listened to my videos, especially any of my videos where I talk about constitutionality or the law, I have I have always upheld that the Constitution is infinitely more important than your stupid local laws. If you break the Constitution while trying to enforce your local law, prison, instant. I don't care. Stripped of your immunity, fired, and instant prison. We need to stop playing these games. Are there good cops out there? Yes, there's a lot of good cops out there. But the bad cops, the ones that go through and do exactly what they did to Reckless Ben, those are the ones that we need to weed out because they are the ones that are bringing down the reputation of cops nationwide. These cops right here did more damage to the reputation of cops nationwide than half of the fucking shootings in the past year to 5 years. In this one moment, more damage because it is a blatant disregard for the highest law of the land. Blatant. And they don't care. They're even on camera saying there's nothing illegal going on here. He has a First Amendment right. And then they pivot and they say, "Oh, well, how can we turn this into a crime?" No. No. That needs to end. All of these cops, every single one of them that was involved in this goes to prison. Instant. Don't care.
Swearing on my Mormon mother, there's no bigger lay of lover, but I keep her undercover.
The other thing is throughout that entire chorus right there, right? Da, 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 da. Well, it's part of the chorus. I don't think it's actual chorus yet. But this part right here, swearing on my Mormon mother. Not exactly what was going on, but what he did do, this bald idiot right here, what he did do, what he did say was that he swore by his God that he was going to pay and or give the Legos back. Like, and he's Mormon. And say what you want about Mormons. I don't have a particular uh uh how to say grudge or anything against Mormons. I think that they're slightly annoying when they come up knocking on your door, but other than that, I don't have anything against Mormons. But one of the things that I do understand about Mormons is that Mormons have a deep belief that stealing is bad, in so much that they go to like whatever hell it is that they believe in, like on like some like weird like state of like non-existence or impermanent existence or some shit like that. They're really freaking weird. But he swore on his god that he was going to do that, and it was recorded. And yet he still held on the way that he did in trying not to honor the consignment agreements. It's so fucking stupid.
I ain't greedy,
And I'll be honest, like Skyebrows has actually done all of these people more justice than they deserve. They look normal. They don't look like they've been altered. They've essentially been animified and turned into characters in a video without actually being altered. And given the situation where you absolutely could turn them into caricatures of parody, that's not what Skybrowse has done. Um, so they're as creators and as comedians, et cetera, you have the First Amendment right to do a lot of things, right? And that's even by that goes even by changing your perception of what that person appears to be, right? So Skybrowse could have gone and made these people uh, absolutely parodies of their normal selves, but that's not what he did. And I think that's very important for everybody to understand, is that if you're given the power to create and you have a very important message to that you want to be told, you shouldn't go out and intentionally distort and parody something that is far and beyond of excess of what it actually is, right? So Skybrowse had the opportunity to do that, and he didn't. He kept them true to what they actually look at. Didn't give them horns. He didn't change their skin color. He didn't turn them into monsters. He kept them quite normal, and that's important for people to understand. And I wish that I could go into a little bit more about the reason why that's important. Um, but it's hard to do that from a translation process between the mentality of an artist and into the interpretation of the art. Um, Perhaps Gleeman or maybe a cosmic otaku could be a lot more concise in that, but it's extremely hard to actually verbalize the specific style choice that Skybrowse has done here. And I think that what Skybrowse did was right. I don't think that these people should be made into mockeries of who they are. They need to be seen for what they are right now, right? Like, yes, we can all agree that what they did was monstrous, what they did was wrong, and that all of these people did all these terrible illegal things. But that doesn't mean that we should turn them into grotesque caricatures of who they are.
objective from a certain point perspective. Every fact is more subjective when the shelf looks so collectible. More and more, and call me shady, call me litigation crazy.
And that's another thing right there. They threatened so many times to sue Ben, and yet they never did. Not once did they actually sue Ben, and that's because Ben had already won in court. He had taken them to court on a civil matter, and he had won because they decided never to show up. You can't, if you're going to claim that you're going to sue somebody over something, but then you never show up to your own court case, that in of itself means that you don't actually have a case. To be litigation crazy, which is nuts, because they constantly talked about suing Ben and then never doing it. I mean, it's a level of hypocrisy. Like, Ben has always been in the right. Did he do things the right way all the time? No. He was absolutely a content creator. He created content. He was making it entertaining for everybody, as well as trying to do what he set out to do, was get the Legos back. But the fact that Ben was able to sue them and win, the fact that Ben went out of his way to serve them papers for another lawsuit, and they kept calling the cops and trying to get him from not serving them, is kind of nuts. It's really crazy.
Call me maybe, call me daily. Just don't call the feds, Ben, maybe.
Which is actually something that Ben absolutely should have done. And maybe Ben has done. And because this has escalated beyond state control. There is nothing that Utah or Washington can do to keep this out of federal court. This is so much bigger than they have ever wanted it to be. Because regardless of the fact, they misused police funds. They engaged in active corruption to get the police to do exactly what they wanted. The CEO told officers what to do rather than officers doing what the law said to do, right? And this absolutely needs to be escalated to the FBI and Department of Justice, because this is a gross miscarriage of justice. It is gross overuse of police resources, and every single one of the officers that was involved in this needs to have their badge stripped, and they need to go to prison.
Got a bad feeling, that's tradition.
This is the original owner, the one who signed the first consignment agreement with what was his name? Ed Mansell. Yeah, that guy. Ed Mansell was the one who owned the Legos and went to the Bricks and MiniFigs and entered into a consignment agreement with this person. And it is assumed that she sold part of the collection, took that money, and ran. It's assumed that, because nobody can find her, nobody knows where she went. She just packed up and left. Left the Bricks and Minifigs in storefront in absolute desolation. And then that's where the other two individuals that were earlier in the video came along, who became co-owners of that Bricks and Minifigs location. At which point the consignment agreement then turned over from her to them, as per corporate rules, and then things got super out of hand.
Got a mission and a superstition. Got a witness with a contradiction. Got a lawyer, so that's permission. No castle run, I simply squander. I don't hide, the truth just wanders. I don't lie, I merely launder your questions, non-responder. Jedi mind trick mind.
Again, the absolute wordplay is hilarious. Intertwined with all of these is little Star Wars puns and references, all to the Star Wars Lego collection, and it's friggin' nuts.
Certain facts have gone missing, certain boxes gone fishing, certain cameras extra snitching. Obi-Wan, my explanation, mastery interpretation, every the Lego.
And that's the first moment that we get to see Reckless Ben. Very on brand. Reckless Ben with his microphone and literally just saying return the Legos. Because that's all it would have taken for the entire thing to be blown over. Is all they had to do was just return the stupid Legos, return the collection, and everything stops. No, the content wouldn't have gotten out of hand. People wouldn't have been calling Bricks and MiniFigs and demanding that they uphold the consignment agreement, which they should have anyway. Like, everything that has happened to Bricks and Minifigs over the course of this last week has been entirely their fault because they didn't honor an agreement that they entered into. They signed that line along with Ed Mansell. And then they decided not to agree to it. And then when a YouTuber catches wind of it, who creates content, who has thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers, and you somehow think that this story is just going to blow over, especially after the first video, you're just like, oh no no no, nothing's gonna happen. I mean, we got sued, but it's okay. Nothing's gonna happen. No, guy. Like, this becomes a story for the internet to take hold and then use it against you and your company. This is exactly how companies die in modern America. You do something sketchy, a YouTuber finds out about it, starts reporting on it, and now your company's dead.
Return the Lego. I say why so black and white, though life's a spectrum. Let the force flow, finders, keepers, that's my life code. A faithful millennium falconist, brick acquisition specialist, plastic preservation.
And see, that's another thing, guys. Like, some of these collective pieces, because like this was a full set, right? Let's do Beckett. Let's if we were to look at the Beckett grading for the Millennium Falcon, right? I think it's in here. Which I don't understand fucking how they would fucking grade. This is 7,642 pieces. Jesus H fucking Christ. Would be because I think we have to go with original. This one, and that's provided that it's alone and not with an entire set. The Millennium Falcon by itself has hit the highest recorded price recorded at Las Vegas auction of $15,000. So at mint, I mean, and that's saying that it's mint, right? Mint, it's got a Beckett 10 grading, you know, uh, and there's, but that's also part of like what Bricks and Minifigs was supposed to do. They were supposed to facilitate the grading. They were supposed to then have it listed and then set it up for sale for collectors, et cetera, yada yada, right? So all of that was supposed to be handled by Bricks and Minifigs. And if if we go with the absolute highest possibility for this one set, right? This one this one Millennium Falcon, if it had been graded as a Beckett 10, it had the potential to by itself be sold for $15,000. Now that's an outlier price, yes. Like we should absolutely take that as something that is not a potential. Like it very much likely would not sell for $15,000. But the fact that one did sell for $15,000 already sets its potential price. And that price was back in like 2017. So it's been how many fucking years now since then? And this was a full collection. Now think for a moment, like what if the entire collection itself was graded at a Beckett 10? I mean, unlikely, yes. Very unlikely that Beckett is going to grade an entire collection at a 10. But again, the potential is there. Then you're not only just looking at a set that could be worth $200,000, this could be a set that's worth $500,000, even a million to the right collector. Because it's a full and complete set. This is something very, very few people actually have. Right? So it's important to understand the scope of this cuz like honestly I believe with the entire Lego set combined they were extremely lowballed by being given a $200,000 price tag for the entire set. Seemed extremely lowballed, especially since most of these end up going to auction for specific collectors in either Las Vegas or Los Angeles or even in New York, where you have some of the largest collectors and collections in all of the world.
Archivist, part-time amateur escapologist. Some folks pray for revelation, I pray for shelf space allocation, searching for divine confirmation for collected grade valuation. The force awoke inside my heart near the vintage Lego part. Some call that the darkest start, I call that a brand new start. I say, look, let's be objective. The collection looked neglected. I was simply redirected by a higher force directed.
And see, that's another thing that I find extremely unlikely is the collection looking neglected because people who collect these things they don't just put them in an attic and never touch them. No, they keep them in sealed boxes. They keep them away from the elements. They keep them away from light to keep them from getting uh, deterioration or for the ink to start fading from the boxes, etc., etc. Like, I mean, we'll never really know now because the likelihood of them getting the collection back is is next to zero. But they should absolutely still pay out, despite not being able to do that. Like, and the CEO's little cope that he released the other day about, oh well, we'll just give you the entire inventory of the store as compensation. Motherfucker, that might not even be enough. It might not even be enough. Because again, if it goes to auction with the right collectors, it is worth in excess of what you say it is, especially if they were mint condition. If they were mint condition, never taken out of the box, Beckett could have graded the entire thing in the high nines to a 10, and they would have gotten maximum value for the entire set.
Walking a thin line on a slack line. Every headline turns to backfire. Every fact check fuels the tire fire. Every witness suddenly retires. Got more spins than a lightsaber. Every month the tale gets stranger. Every statement shape changes later, like a legally distinct changeling vapor. Swearing on my Mormon mother, blaming one thing then another. Every brother backs a brother to someone.
There we go. That right there. Every brother backs a brother, because this whole thing pointed to the fact that every single one of these people was part of the LDS church. Every single one of them. Everybody that was involved. The two owners of the Bricks and MiniFigs franchise store, the CEO of Bricks and MiniFigs, every single one of the cops that showed up to hassle Ben, every single one of them was a member of the LDS church. Like, that right there is a conspiracy on a grand scale. And again, points to the deeper corruption within that entire town. So again, I call upon the FBI to go and fucking do something about it, because it's your goddamn job. Like, every single one of these people, jail now. I don't know why the FBI is dragging their feet on this. It's already on a national scale.
Brother to someone calls an undercover. I would never stoop to theft. I merely shifted assets left. You say my morals are bereft. Let's leave the matter unaddressed, like Joseph Smith. You know. Call the Pope.
Joseph Smith. Who is this? Oh, hey, there he is. That's who it is. Joseph Smith Jr. is an American religious political leader and founder of. Okay, this now makes sense, guys. This makes sense. You'll see. This is why we have Google, and why we have lyrics to go over. Because apparently, Joseph Smith is the founder of Mormonism and the Latter Day Saints Church. So I see this is shit that I don't know, because I don't care. I've never been that deep and involved in it, but apparently this is Skyebrows' representation for Joseph Smith. Interesting.
Oh, on this shaggy bro, reckless spin, do not pass go. Send you straight to Mexico. The force is strong with my collection. The source is wrong on inspection. Foreign forces, divine protection, stacking bricks of misdirection. Walking a thin line on a slack line, my tiny planet star shine. Castle waiting in the skyline. Fly my falcon through the divine. If the kingdom's everlasting, ooh, and celestial worlds of fasting.
And now we're getting into the final part of it, which is a good question, because we can probably assume that some of the collection was already sold off. So the other question is where's the rest of this? Where's the rest of the set, right? Because a collection like that just doesn't disappear. You either sell it, or you hand it over to another collection, or it goes in storage, etc., etc. Like, it's supposed to be somewhere, and yet Bricks and MiniFigs doesn't seem to have it anywhere. I mean, at this point, the consignment is bunk. Like, it can't be honored now because the collection is no longer whole. And so, like, just giving back what the collection isn't enough at this point. Like, it needs to be full monetary compensation to the maximum value of what the set is worth and what the potential set was worth if it were to go to high stakes auction like in Las Vegas, where you're going to have hundreds of collectors that are going to be looking at the whole collection and would have bid on the entire thing, right? And so, like, but again, like, where exactly is the collection now? I mean, is it still whole? That's one of the biggest questions. Is the collection still whole? And if it's not, then you absolutely pay out the maximum value of the collection. You're gonna take a loss. Like, absolutely, you're gonna take a loss. Um, and if the collection is still whole, you need to give it back and give monetary compensation for the trouble.
Never let go, never let go. That's the motto, that's the tempo. If the force says no, then maybe. If it's a stop, then move it slowly. R2D2 unto others, swearing on my Mormon mother. There's no bigger layer lover, but I keep her undercover.
The one thing that I will comment that is not on the story of this is I have no idea how Skyebrows gets the pulse effect in his videos, because I've tried. I don't know what effect he's using, but probably mostly because I don't know what software he's using either. But to get that little pulse effect when you've got the bass or when it's hitting on the beat line, like I need to figure out how he does that. That's a cool effect and I want it. I want it for my own videos. In loving memory of Joseph Smith. That's so funny, because this whole thing is like, if these people had just done what their own teachings uh had ordered and guaranteed, or had not guaranteed, had espoused, then there would have never been any stolen Legos. There would have never been any kind of controversy over this in the first place, because they would have upheld the agreement. Because in their own teachings, Mormons are not supposed to be stealing. So, but that is my thoughts. That is the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Um, I eagerly await the next Skyebrows release, and I will see you all in the next one.